Yeah. Okay, so Parashat Vayigash, this week we have the move of, if you will, Am Yisrael to Mitzrayim. Right? Yaakov Isha B'Tovau, family of Yaakov, which in other words is called Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, they transfer. Galut starts in a way. They go to Mitzrayim. The whole story, obviously, Vayigash starts with the struggle between Yosef and Yehuda. Finally, Yosef reveals himself, and they go. Says, "Go, don't wait, right away. Go down to Canaan and get Yaakov." So, I have a question here. I'll tell you the question, then I will share with you what I think is the answer. So it says, Vayakom Yaakov mi Beersheva. What I'm reading is chapter 46, pasuk 5 right now. Vayakom Yaakov mi Beersheva. Yaakov gets up from Beersheva. Vayis'u bnei Yisrael et Yaakov avihem. The children of Israel carried Yaakov their father. They carried. That's what it says. Ve'et tapam ve'et neshehem, and their children and their wives, ba'agalot asher shalach Paro lasetutu, with those wagons that Pharaoh had sent to carry them. Banav uvnei vayikchu et vikreim et rechusham asher rachashu be'eretz Canaan. So they took their wealth, they took their flock, everything that they had acquired in land of Canaan, and they came to Mitzrayim. Now, when I read that pasuk, the image I get of Yaakov is an old, retired, broken man. It says literally with their children. They carried him and they carried their children. He's like a ward of his sons. You see sometimes a ward of his sons. His sons are taking care of him. He's already, right? He's already way past his prime. He's not the head of the family as we know. No, he's past his prime. His children carried him, the same as they carried their children. That's what it says. That's what the pasuk says. Now the problem I have is the next verse changes everything. It says, Yaakov v'chol zar'o ito. Continues to say, Yaakov came with all his children with him. You should always know, there is a difference between ito and imo in Hebrew. There are two ways you could say with him. In English, both of them we say with him. Right? I go with you. But in Hebrew, there are two ways of you saying it. It's either ito or imo. What's the difference?
Imo is closer.
Imo means we two are going together. Ito means I'm taking you with. Ito, the one who's taking is doing the taking. Not the two people are going together. One is taking the other. Ito, one is tafel to the other. Right? One is the main person and the other ones follow. Imo is me and you decide together we're going to go on a trip. So that's it. So he says, Ito, Yaakov brought his whole kol zar'o ito. It's the Yaakov who's the trailblazer. All of a sudden, the image Torah is giving me a different thing. Yaakov is in charge. Yaakov is the one who's determining. Yaakov is setting the course. And if that wasn't enough, listen to the continuation. Banav uvnei banav ito. His children, his grandchildren with himself. Benotav uvnot banav. His daughters, his granddaughters. V'chol zar'o. All his offspring. Hevi ito. He brought with him.
He's a leader.
Mitzrayim. He's leading. What happened? Pasuk before says they carried him. Oh, yeah, no, he's the one who's taking everybody.
Carry them.
More, the law one idea. It was different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ito, no, the other way around. Imo means two people are going, each one has its own idea. Ito means one is going, the others are following him. That's what it means. Okay, so I haven't seen anybody answer this question. But I think what I'm about to tell you is the absolutely, I think obviously everybody thinks their own answer is I think this is the emet.
Wow.
See, to understand this, you have to go back a little bit. Go back 7, 8 Pesukim. The brothers come, they want to tell Yaakov, the whole Midrash. Obviously, you don't want to say it suddenly. So they got Serach Batashe. Good. The whole story, fine. We're not getting into that. So finally, they tell him, Yosef is alive. So the first response is, disbelief, shock. He can't believe. So they show him the wagons. Chazal say the wagons was referring to Egla Arufa. So there was a siman there. Yosef had put in sort of a hint there. I think in English they call them Easter eggs. He hid something there to show that it's really me. Okay, so he believes finally. As soon as he believes, what does he say? Vayomer Yisrael Rav, that's enough for me to hear. Od Yosef beni chai, Yosef is alive, that's all I need to hear. I don't need anything more. El chaver enu beterah. So I gotta go see him. That's his initial reaction. But he doesn't stay with that. As soon as the excitement wears off just a little, I'm sure he was still excited to see Yosef, but as soon as he wears off just a little bit, no, I'm not going so fast. I'm not going so fast. I'm reading Memvak Pasuk Aleph. What happens? Vayisa Yisrael v'chol hashelo vayavo Be'er Sheva. He doesn't go to Mitzrayim, he goes to Be'er Sheva. Vayizbach zevachim le'elokei aviv Yitzchak. He brings korban. He wants to ask Hashem, should I go? Should I not go? What do I do? He's not. Once the excitement is gone, a little bit, saner minds take over. I don't know if that's such a right move. So, Vayomer Elokim leYisrael, Hashem tells Yaakov Avinu, B'marot Harayla, Vayomer Yaakov, Vayomer Hineni, Vayomer Achi Akir Akir Avicha, I am the God of your forefathers, Al Tera Mirda Misraima. Don't be afraid of going to Mitzrayim. If you tell somebody, don't be afraid, what does it mean?
He was afraid.
He was afraid. Yaakov Avinu was very, very much afraid of going to Mitzrayim. He was petrified. As a matter of fact, he was having an anxiety attack. Yaakov was having an anxiety attack.
Because he knew the people was going to get the slave.
That's right. Because Yaakov grew up from the very time that he was born, he knew. Right? Hashem told grandfather, Hashem told Avram, right? He heard it from the time he was literally a baby. Yitzchak talking about it, his grandfather talking about it, we're going to be taken as slaves. Hashem has said, he's going to be taken as slaves. So his whole life, he has that fear. He has that anxiety. I could go to Galut. It's something his whole life. He's a fear, it's a complex for him. So, yes, he was excited to go see Yosef, but as soon as he started thinking about it, he's not so ready to go. What am I to do? What am I to do? He literally had a panic attack. So he goes, he brings the korban, Hashem talks to him. Hashem says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Why is that? Al tira merda Misraima, don't be afraid. Ki legoy gadol asimcha sham. Because a great nation you will become there. You will not become a great nation here in Canaan. Sitting in the comfort of your own land, you will never become great. You will become great in Mitzrayim, in Galut. Or Chaim HaKadosh says over here, the point, the whole goal, the reason you're going to Galut is to become great. That's what Chaim HaKadosh said, and that's what Hashem told him. See, there is something, psychologists call it, it's a psychological, they call it an anchor. right? Anchor, obviously we know what anchor means, right? Anchor is what holds the ship in place, that it doesn't move. They're stuck with the anchor, they're stuck somewhere, they don't move. The ship can't move till they pull up the anchor, right? So it's used as a psychological, the therapists, they use it, right? We have anchors. Everybody has anchors in their psyche, right? And we have anchors with all our five senses. You could have visual anchors, you could have auditory anchors, you could have anchors that are associated with a smell, right? Associated with taste. What it is somebody could come and say, right, I don't know why, but whenever I smell this food, I feel so secure, I feel taken care, I feel warm.
That's anchor.
That's an anchor. That means his mind is stuck in that mode. This smell will get him stuck into that frame of mind. So now, a lot of times therapists go back into it. They think, oh, you know what it is? Whenever he was sick, his mother made him that food. So he feels being taken care of, being protected. So that will bring up that feeling. Or somebody says, whenever I hear this tune, this music, I get very scared. I get frightened. So you know what? Barmina, for example, he had a heart attack, and they rushed him to emergency room. He was about to die, and in the emergency room, this music was playing. So that fear of that seeing his whole life in front of his eyes, not knowing whether he's going to make it or not, that fear is somewhere in his psyche, is always repeated when he hears that music. Right? That's an anchor. You have positive anchors, you have negative anchors. You have anchors that give us good feelings, give us bad feelings. So now some of them could be real traumatic. Some people have anchors that really paralyze them in their life. Right? So how do therapists deal with these anchors? You have to take that feeling and show them a different point of view. For example, obviously I'm using that's a very superficial example. Going back to my example, this music, in his mind, the people don't even know it, by the way. The first part is to figure out why is it that. Then you go through the therapy. But right, okay, so they tell him, look, this music gets you back to where you were. Right at that moment, you couldn't move, you couldn't talk, you didn't know if he was going to live, if he wasn't going to live, you didn't know if he's going to be there for his children's wedding or not, whatever. This music gets you back to that moment. But look, you went through that, and you couldn't walk, and you went to therapy, and started walking again, and it shows your resilience. Think about what you accomplished the 6 months after your heart attack. You restarted to learn again. You started to talk again. You now have a healthier lifestyle. Whatever it is that they tell him. They show a different aspect of the same situation.
Right.
So they make the negative anchor into a positive anchor. You show the positive part of the same story. That's how they deal with the trauma that may be very, very debilitating, may be really paralyzing a person. Right? So this is what happened now. Okay, by Yaakov, I don't know exactly how long it takes to go from Canaan to Misraim. Right? Man says 5 days, 7 days. Right? The way they traveled those days to go from Canaan to go to Misraim. I think this is what happened. Right? By other people it may take longer, but we're talking about Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu took him those few days to change the anchor. Yaakov Avinu, as we said, he had a panic attack. His whole life, he is thinking, we're going to go to Galut. Va'avadum ve'innu otam. Hashem gave a prophecy to the grandfather, to the Zayda, as they say in Yiddish, that we're going to go and they're going to hurt us and they're going to torture us. So Hashem says, wait, what? What torture and hurt? The whole point is you're going to go there to become great. You got to change this anchor. This fear, this anxiety that you have is misplaced, is not correct. Yes, it's going to be difficult. But there is a good reason for it. There is a good reason for it. So change your anchor. So by the time you look at the pasuk, the contradiction that I read you, I think it's meduyak. One says that when he came out. When he came out, he was a broken man. When he went into Misraim, he was at the height of his power. He was the leader. Because it took him, by the time he entered Misraim, he was back to himself. Because he had worked through that issue. He had changed his perspective. You change the perspective. It is not to hurt you. It is not to torture you. It's to build you. Like I say, I got this book out of the library. It was really amazing. I don't know if I recommend it, but it was eye-opening. How they train Navy SEALs. Right? How they train Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs, they go for a 12-week training to become Navy SEALs. Now, mind you, the candidates are already some of the most trained soldiers in the world. Right? You don't just become a Navy SEAL just like this. They're either from the Special Forces, or they're from Army Rangers. They're already, we're talking about very, very highly trained soldiers. They apply for becoming Navy SEALs, which are considered the most highly, trained soldiers in the world. There are 12 weeks training. And it's unbelievable. You read it's one torture after another. It's one torture after another. These 12 weeks, they hardly sleep. It's just unbelievable. They put them in cold water for 36 hours when they have hypothermia. Then they give them math quizzes to solve. You don't solve it, you don't pass. Right? They've been up in freezing water. Why is that? Because when you have hypothermia, naturally, person's brain activity comes to about 20% of what it was. But the point is, you could, if you want, you could get your brain to work. You could train yourself to make the right decision. So these guys are going to be in a war. What do you think? They're always going to be well rested and well fed to make the right decision? And every decision they do could cost literally thousands of lives. They got to be trained that even in the most, if you haven't slept, if you haven't eaten, you have to be trained. If you teach yourself once or twice that your brain could think, as it's more difficult. Yes, it's more difficult, but you could think, you could do. Then, next time, you know that you could do it. Right? So, if you look at it, you don't know what's the purpose, it's torture. What are they doing to this? Why do they put them in freezing water for 36 hours? They make him run with a backpack of 80 pounds. They make him run for 16 hours. You know what that means? 80-pound backpack. Try it for 10 minutes, see what happens to us. It's not a joke. But why? It's torture. No, it's not torture. We're training you to find that reservoirs of power within yourself, which every human being has. It's just a question of do we access it or no. They want only those who access that reservoir of power. Right? And that is what Hashem told Yaakov. You're not going there. Avadum ve'inu is not to torture you. It's kigelegoi gadol, to make you great. A friend of mine once told me, he said, you know why, Rabbi? We survive Galut. We do not wither away. Every other nation withered away. But we survive Galut. You know why that is? He said, why is that? He said, because we were conceived in Galut. We became a nation in Galut. No other nation was like this. You're a nation, then you're taken into Galut. We became Am Yisrael in Galut, in Misraim. Right? It's a very nice way of putting it, but that's what the pasuk says. That greatness comes. We go. Truth of the matter is, it's a pasuk, right? Mekura barzel. The same as you put iron into a furnace to make steel out of it, becomes much stronger. That was the goal. So once the perspective changes, everything changes. The work is the same work, but the pressure is not there. Oh, I'm training, right? I'm training. As difficult as it is, that trainee that is trying to become a Navy SEAL doesn't call it torture. It's very difficult training, but the whole perspective is different. It's not pressure. It's not the anxiety. Okay, maybe he could do it. Maybe he can't do it, but he doesn't feel he's being tortured. He knows he's training to achieve something, to get somewhere. And that's the story of life. A lot of times difficulties break us because it's a negative anchor. Why is it a negative anchor? Because we look at it as it's torture, it's pointless, has no value. But it has a value.
Fruitless.
That's right. There is nothing in the world, by the way. There is nothing in the world that is difficult. We call things difficult which we think are not worth it. Every time you say something is difficult, it's not difficult. It's not worth it. Difficult is relative. It's relative. Just the other week I was telling someone, if someone comes and tells you, I have a job for you. Are you interested? Say, yeah, maybe. So, okay, the job is from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. No, it's too difficult.
Not for me.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, they pay $500 an hour. Wow, that's so easy. I'm willing to do. What happened? Is it difficult or easy? When we say difficult, that means not worth it. We mean for what we think we get out of it is too difficult. Nothing is, difficult per se. What's difficult per se? If you pay the right amount of money, nothing is difficult, right? Or whatever it is, whether we consider money or whatever reward we get. Nothing in life is difficult. When we say something is difficult, we think that what I'm getting in return is not worth it. I'm just going to finish with this. A friend of mine, and Hashem should always, give health and really, easy life to everybody. We should not we pray every day, lolidei nisayon, but every one of us has their own nisayon. Every one of us has their own nisayon. And he had a real difficult time, health-wise, financial-wise, everything. So I told him, look, if Hashem was here, and Hashem would tell you that, look, you go through this difficult time and get Olam Haba. You don't do it, there is no Olam Haba. Is it worth it or is it not worth it? 2 years of difficulty, 3 years of difficulty, whatever it was, right? But Olam Haba is eternity. 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, million years, 100 million years is nothing compared to eternity. And Olam Haba is eternity. 100 million years is nothing compared to eternity. And Olam Haba is eternity. Worth it or not worth it? He said, for sure worth it. He said, if Hashem would give you a choice, wouldn't you choose, chas v'shalom, the financial difficulty to begin with? He said, I would choose it. So I said, so Hashem is telling you. Why do you think Hashem hasn't told you? You have to do your best. You have to do your ishtadlut. You have to do your... But at the end of the day, we do, despite our best, we do our best. Whatever else happens is what Hashem is telling us. So that's what it is. You change that perspective, everything is changed. Yaakov Avinu became a new person. Because the perspective changed. That change of perspective is what makes us. Everything in life is dependent on our perspective. Do we find it difficult or don't we find it difficult? Well, it depends. Is it worth it or is it not worth it? At the end of the day, Torah tells us life is worth it. Life is worth it. The greatness of life is worth it. And if you have that perspective, then everything could change. Okay.